We were
Long
just
time no
talking.
hear.
I know it, right? Are you keeping everybody together like they should be?
More or less.
I'm trying to figure out what the wives and the women are gonna do, or the significant others, because I know there's probably some women in this grass club y'all got going on here. What we're gonna do and be next time? Like it's a movement. It's the wives. We gotta be bigger and better than just Captain Nutsedge. I gotta have my own, like, what are those people called? What are the people, like, it's Superman and Batman and all of them, and they're like on a board? The Justice League. I gotta have my own grass league.
Yeah, TK, you gotta
You
have your
do,
own.
TK.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta have
that's
your
what
own
we're gonna do.
grass. Actually, you have to have your own lawn wives league.
I know,
There,
right?
the
And we're
lawn
going up in that
wives.
convention. Like, he got me to where I didn't go to the convention last year, but I'm going to the convention. I missed the lawnmower burning up. I missed all the good stuff last time. I'm going to the convention with my outfit on. I don't even know who I'm gonna be this year.
We got time to figure that out. We got time to figure that
I
out.
know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta be
you got
bigger
a
and
lot.
better than Captain Nutsedge, but I don't even know how I'm gonna beat that. Remember, I had the little balls, the little nut balls on my outfit. Like, that was the best thing
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, you had all of that, and let me tell you, TK, that was wild. Okay, that was wild.
You
I
know,
mean,
and all the wives have fun. Like, it's just a few of us, but now it's gotta be more. We could bring some wives, and we gotta bring some girlfriends, and even the side chicks are even welcome. They can come too.
He's gonna get someone in trouble.
Whoa,
Well,
hang
well,
on.
no, because we did no videoing. Remember, there's a no videoing rule, and what's at the convention stays at the convention, right? Didn't we do that?
Yes, you are right. There are.
No, not the no. Now each guy has got to figure this out. Either your wife comes or your side chick, but not both.
Yikes!
So make that rule.
Yikes!
Let
TK.
them know. But side chicks will be welcome, as long as it's
Side
not
chicks
Kelly's
are.
side chick. She can't come.
Oh yeah, because you'll already be there, TK.
I'll already be there. I
Yeah.
already fight with Bermuda anyway. Bermuda is his side chick.
Yeah.
And I really think I'm the side chick and Bermuda's the wife. I really think. I don't even know how to even get my position back. Yeah, that Bermuda grass. Yeah.
Well, you know that.
Janae,
I'm
are
gonna
you
tell
on
you,
there?
T.
I'm here.
Yeah, he
I was
just
going to say,
joined.
listen. When one of you goes dormant, the other one should come alive. It's a shared
You talking
relationship.
about
It's okay.
the Bermuda and me, or me and the side chick? Who are we talking about?
All of them.
All of the
them.
above, TK.
So,
All the above.
so does that mean Telly has a harem? Is it? Because then if there's more than two, if there's more than a wife and a side chick, and then you get another one, Zoisha? Is that the one
What
that
is
the
it?
man of the street has? Yeah, so there might be multiple. No, they can't come. Okay, side chicks have just been uninvited.
Whoa. Oh.
Hey, TK.
Back to wives and girlfriends. Back to wives and girlfriends. No side chicks. They can't come. There's too
TK,
many of us. Too many of them in Telly's life.
you met Aldo, right, TK?
Yes.
He wants to know if he can be your side chick.
Anytime, friend. Anytime. He sure can. He's got to wear an outfit, though. He's got to wear an outfit.
Oh, I bet he's got plenty of outfits.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I would actually like to see Aldo in a sequins jacket with the Mexican flag on the back. I think that would be right where we need to be, and all the lights and shit like TK has. Like we need that too on the front,
Yeah,
like
I think I
a
could
scrolling
coordinate.
sign, "Viva la Mexico."
Now, TK, I want to know if
we
this.
could do it.
I want to know if this changes your opinion, your answer though. If you were told that Aldo is not coming this year, could he still be your side chick?
Well, where would he be my side chick at if he ain't coming to the convention? Why is he not coming?
He wants to like take his family on vacation or something stupid.
How dare he?
Oh.
What more of a vacation would you want than the grass convention?
Yeah, like, I mean,
It's like Disney World for grass. I mean,
Louisville is a very family-friendly city. If your kids are into bourbon and
right.
all the transient
And I
sex
entertain
workers that come in for
kids.
GIE.
This last one, we
Yeah.
love kids.
Yeah,
Let the
well-
kids come. They can be the designated drivers.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yes. Well, I mean, and by designated driver, I'm pretty sure what TK means is that they know how to operate a phone that has the Uber and Lyft apps on them. Like that's enough
Yes.
these days. That's enough. That's a responsible choice.
that's good enough. Is that when the parents are too out of it, hey, the children can just call the Uber and get us back to the room. I mean, that makes sense.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
We need to start partying in our hotel. We need to have the whole grass convention at our hotel. Then we could just be drunk as skunks in the lobby, and then somebody could just roll us onto the elevator and push our floor. And then it's up to us to get back from there.
There's
Like,
been
you
several
know,
people over the years. I can tell you that exact scenario has taken place. I'm not going to name names or anything like that, and I certainly
Mhm.
wasn't party to this, but been a few people that have really pushed the limits of in finding their own rock bottom with relation to blood alcohol content and other substances.
know,
What?
right?
I'm just
Okay. Well, then, what we could do is have some AA pamphlets to the side. They can read those.
There you go.
listen.
When they
Hey,
wake
you know
up.
what? I think I can see. Listen, I can see it right now. DK, our slogan this year will be fill yourself up with something else. That's gonna be our slogan. Yep. Fill yourself up
That
with
can
something
be
else.
it.
That
That
should
can be it.
inspire people to do better. I hope. Wouldn't me?
I think it will. I think it will. See right there. Aren't you caring for the community? Look at that.
I tell you.
Hey.
Well, you
Hey,
You pick
I
whatever it
am
is,
always
too.
the voice of moderation. Okay, have a
Right.
good time, but yeah,
But what
just
are
kind
we
of.
gonna fill ourselves up with then? What's the something else?
Oh, TK.
I
Y'all so
don't know.
nasty already. Right
No,
there.
no.
That's why I love you
We
guys.
can go to listen. We can go to the
Oh, it
grocery
wasn't nasty,
store.
'cause my
We can
mind
go to
was
the
nasty.
dispensary. We can go to the adult bookstore. I mean, there's a host of places that we can go to find things. I mean, that's like a whole Jeopardy category. Seriously, I'll make that. We'll do. I think we're gonna do this at the show this year. We're gonna do X-rated Jeopardy, and I'm gonna be Alex Trebek. And one of the categories will be things that fill you up. All right, and we'll
I
do
love
that.
that. I'm gonna need that for 500, Alex. I'm gonna need
Oh.
that one. I need double Jeopardy on that one.
Mm,
Yeah.
I will work
yeah.
on that. That sounds like
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be even bigger and better. See, every year needs to be bigger and better, so that people will come, come, come.
Oh
Man.
shit.
Alrighty,
I
TK.
love you guys.
We'll
love
let you
too.
go.
Well, I don't.
I
I
will
wanna
see
take
you
up
in
all the
June.
time. Huh?
I will see you in June, TK, instead of May. And I hope you have a
Okay.
fantastic birthday on Monday.
Thank you so much, and y'all have a wonderful show tonight. If you need anything from me, just give me a holler. I'm at the house with the, Telly and the kids and the dog. If you need any help tonight, I know it's not a call. He told me it's not a call-in show, so I had to call in now and talk to you guys. But I'm glad to talk to you, and have
It
a
was
great
wonderful.
show tonight.
We will.
Peace out, Girl
Thanks,
Scout.
TK.
All right, bye,
Peace
friends.
out.
There you go. I mean, we just there's a whole thing. We got a bumper sticker now. We've got X-rated Jeopardy. I mean, the agenda for this year's Dirty Deeds get together in Louisville is it's growing. It's growing just before our eyes. So when is that date? Let's go back and check this real quick. That's going to be October 19th, friends and neighbors. So Thursday, October 19th in the city of Louisville. While whatever, I can't remember what it's called now. It used to be called GIE, Equip Expo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Equip
I mean, plenty of
Expo.
cool stuff there to go check out. But we're the coolest thing that's going to be in Louisville. And again, first year, second year, this will be our third annual, and it has grown ever since. It's a great time. I mean, yeah, it's just I don't know. It's hard to put in words, and so just that it's so cool that everybody not just comes to see us. That's not. I mean, that's cool and everything, but it's that everybody comes together to see each other and has a good time. So, no fanboying, nothing like that. Like that's beforehand when you see Alan Hayne at the bar and everybody wants to take a picture of him. Looking at you, Evie, and yeah. So good times. Now tonight, as you may have heard, was a call-in show on the pre-show, but it is a call-in show tonight because, listen, Ray, if things haven't got hot and heavy already for most people, it is now April the 6th, and things are moving expeditiously towards the shit hitting the fan, right? And it's time to be thinking about all the things that can go wrong. And I'm looking here just at our weather in Ohio, Ray. And I was having a conversation with my good friend Ryan Orr last night about how, weird our weather is here in the middle part of the country now these days and everything like that. So, it was 80 degrees and we had thunderstorms and bad weather here just the other day. It was 50 degrees today. And then I'm looking at the forecast for next Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're in the low to mid 80s. So like a yo-yo, right? And I'm sure people are probably wondering, oh man, did I get my pre-emergent out in time? I get these weeds popping up. I'm going to overseed in the spring. Like, listen, hit us with those questions. We're going to give you real talk. All right. The real is the real talk. You're not going to hear any fluff. You're not going to hear any of the, hey, if you buy this shit on my link, it might save your ass. Or, I'll convince you later on, 2 videos later, that you fucked up and did something wrong and it wasn't my product. You should buy this other one over here that might fix the same problem that you're having now. It's a really good business model when you're constantly proving people wrong over and over again. All right.
Exactly.
Go ahead, cowboy.
There you go. To whom do we have the pleasure of speaking, caller?
Hey, this is Coven.
Coven.
Hey, Coven.
My
Hey,
Mr.
goodness.
Coven Carlson. How the heck are you, sir?
That is me. I'm doing
Mhm.
fantastic. How about you guys?
Great.
Doing great.
Can't
Mhm.
complain, man.
Cool.
So what's going on? I saw a
So,
a little snippet come through from you. J Pink sent over something about Iron Cutter. What's going on?
Yeah. So I sodded some strips of Iron Cutter last fall, and they're doing fantastic. And I was planning on plugging some other areas. And so, how soon is too soon for plugging that in the spring? It matured I planted it last fall. Sodded.
Okay. Got it last fall. And where, generally speaking, where are you in the country, Coven? I can't remember off the top of my head. Sorry.
St. Louis. St. Louis.
Okay, St. Louis. Yeah, I mean, if these temps hold on and we stay in this pattern that we're about to get into here with these warming temperatures, and I'm seeing here in just central Ohio, so a good probably 100 miles due north of you, straight away north. We're down near 60 degrees at night, coming into next weekend. So I don't think it's too early. I think, you're not going to disrupt anything from a plant response type thing by moving those things, even if they are, still dormant or partially dormant, greening up, that sort of thing. I will say that, the spread on Iron Cutter, this is just anecdotal from growing it in a couple different iterations, a couple different ways here over the last 3 years, is that it takes a while for it, even under ideal conditions, for it to start spreading. Now, once it does, it's a strong spreader. It does. It's a very good sod former. Yep. So both with rhizomes and stolons and everything like that. So my only caution to you would be, especially early in the season, and then knowing the grass and the genetics and the way it behaves and everything like that, is just be patient. It might take a while. Yep. If you're doing it now, and a normal spring and summer occurs, I wouldn't expect to really be amazed until, say, like Father's Day. You're still probably 2 months away from being like, oh wow, like that's moving, like we're filling in, and then maybe another month later that you're like, I can't even tell anything happened. So that's my only advice, is just be patient. But yeah, full send, go for the plugging, and just try to, as it starts to emerge and spread, try to keep traffic away from there if at all possible, and give it hell. Ray, any other thoughts?
Cool.
No, I think you just about covered it, Ryan. He is not too early to move some plugs around because let's be honest. Bermuda is incredibly hard to kill under normal circumstances.
We do a pretty good job of it here in the northern part of the transition zone, even in St. Louis. Like it is hard to kill, but we have interesting and fun ways with which to kill it. J Pink, throw this. I just sent you a tweet. Go ahead and throw that up. I just had this pop up in my shiz here. So, Coven, I don't know. It sounds like you're on the phone. You might not be able to see this, but go back and watch. It's a guy in Missouri. I'm not sure exactly where in the state, but he's showing a picture of Iron Cutter on the left and Northbridge Bermuda grass on the right hand side, and you'll see the Iron Cutter is greening up. It's not. Maybe it might be 50%. Maybe it's close, but what he's talking about. This gentleman in the tweet is saying that the soil temps are still under 55 degrees, and typically we look at 60 degrees F as a critical temperature for Bermuda grass, to break dormancy and that sort of thing. So pretty encouraging, and I see that too. The only thing, and I wouldn't be worried about it per se necessarily, but one thing that I have seen that can be problematic. Thank you very much for that, J Pink. One thing that I have seen be problematic is with these cold tolerant Bermuda grasses, they do hang on late in the fall, and that's awesome. It's super cool to see that in the genetic advances that they've made in Bermuda grass breeding. But then in the springtime, you get this kind of warm up really, really quickly, right? Like we're about to see, and this stuff's going to come out and start, get ready to party. My only fear would be, do we snap back and get cold again? And I wouldn't suspect that we would see, any loss necessarily. But, I just watch that. If it happens, it's not necessarily that you're going to do anything about it, but more to the point of, just kind of observe and see what happens. So if you get down that road and it looks like it's going that way, call back in, because there are some things that you can do to kind of manipulate a little bit and prevent, some of that frost injury that might occur and things like that if you really want to go down not the wormhole, but more like a python hole. It's a little bit bigger than a wormhole. So
Cool.
What? I can't say python hole here?
Good. Yeah, I'll start plugging here pretty soon.
Awesome. Send
Thanks,
some
fellas.
pics over. I'd love to see it and see how the Iron Cutter looks, but cheers to you, fellow Iron Cutter grower.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
All right, thanks, Govin.
Later, Govin.
Look at that. Paul's Prime Cuts. He's in here saying Bermuda's on its third green up of the year in North Carolina. Well, always giving you hope until there's no hope left. That's what I say. Paul, do your best and see what happens. But let's see. Somebody was trying to buzz in there at one point. Uh-oh. They're calling back.
Go ahead, cowboy.
Caller, you're live. Caller, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. What's up, guys? Just calling in about the Tahoma here in southern New Jersey.
Yeah, buddy. How we
Yes.
doing?
How you doing, sir?
Hey, Mr. Ray. Things are good. The temperatures finally broke here. We had a rough March. But
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna tell you, I sprayed. I went down to the beach March 1st and got some seaweed. Took it home, cleaned it off. Right, let it
Yeah.
sit for 3 weeks in some rainwater. Took it out, drained it, and I sprayed about 16 ounces to like 4 or 5 gallons of water on
Yeah.
Monday. We had 80-degree temperatures the last couple of days. The stuff's jumping out of the ground right now. Clean,
Really?
no weeds. Yeah. My soil temperature when I come home from work tonight, it was 70 degrees over here. And
That was
we
your
got
soil
cooler
temperature? Oh.
temperatures coming the next 3 days over the weekend, like in the 60s. But all next week we're in the 80s.
Yeah.
So this stuff's ready to rock and roll.
All
That's
right.
awesome, man. I'd love to see pictures if
Yeah,
you could
this
send
is
them in. Not. I mean, you don't
yeah.
have to do
Once
it right this
yeah,
second, but yeah, I'd
once
love to see it. It's
once I get like at least like 75-80%, I shoot JP a picture. I wanted to ask you. For this is for Ryan. You use a lot of the iron cutter, right? Is it
yeah.
just because it's easier access for you, or what's the deal? Because I might be having a problem doing the other side of my yard this summer with
Yeah.
Tahoma
Mm-hmm.
because my local sod farm
Yep.
told me the other day, oh, they took a lot of deposits and they may not have enough to sell. I told them I only need like
Really?
1,500 square foot, but I didn't know whether I do have access to the iron cutter. I can go see
Yep.
Jason up in where you get it at the wharf
Yeah, Collinsworth.
sod
Yeah,
farm.
Collinsworth. Yeah.
Yes.
So, here's my take: is there's nothing wrong with either of them. I think it's like a Ford Chevy thing, quite honestly, and it's like minute differences that might matter to me that don't matter to somebody else that I get into. So, like, so starting with just aesthetics, like so. The Tahoma has a much more coarse, short leaf, right? Which, again, for most
Yes.
people, they're like, I don't care, like whatever. Whereas iron cutter, the nodes are a little bit longer, so in between each leaf, right, is a little bit longer, and
Yes.
those blades are way finer, way finer.
Right.
Um, the thing for us, I'm looking at it from a sports turf perspective, right? And so we have to have not only a resilient and durable surface, but also a wearable surface, meaning that when the guys go out there or the gals go out there and play, they're chewing it up, right? That's what it's meant to do, right? They beat it up, and our job is to grow it faster than they can destroy it. So, in that sense, some of the things that we saw with the Homa under really high traffic was that it could, and only in really specific areas, could wear down a little bit faster. And so the thought process was, okay, you know, the nice thing about the home is, and as you know this, like if you pull those roots out, so if you take a soil probe or a cup cutter or whatever and pull those roots out, they are monstrous. Like that, those
Yeah.
roots are far and away like you won't see anything like them because they're so dense, so thick, so long. And I'm not talking about Telly Coleman right now either. All right, TK, but they are awesome roots. Now, the roots and the shoots, right? The two parts of the plant that we really concern ourselves with most often, we consider that to be what we call biomass, right? So that is how much of the plant, right, is actively growing, either bottom down, or top down from into the roots, or straight up in the air as shoots. And so the balance there on Tahoma is much more in the roots and now less
Gotcha.
so up on top. And nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's a strong grass. We have two fields with it, one that we overseed and one that we don't. And I love that grass. I have no problem with it whatsoever. In fact, I get even sport specific with that particular grass over another over iron cutter in certain situations. But so
Right.
in
I
moving to
gotcha.
iron cutter, the choice that we made was more so that the balance between on that biomass of roots to shoots is a little bit more even, right? It's a little bit closer to what we would consider to be a normal grass
Time's up.
that's
It's
got
over.
more up on top, right, and maybe a
Right.
little bit less down below. And so more wearable
It's
surface, finer texture, all that kind of stuff. But I think for you, if you have access to it, I think it'd be cool in a homeowner setting to put side by side. I think color
I
wise they match
know.
up pretty well. The Tahoma's a
Yeah.
little bit darker, but I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
what would you be excited for and concerned for? Those would be my two questions if you did that.
Right. So I really don't have the concerns because just watching the Tahoma, and I talked to his name is Dr. Martin over at OK State. He was part
Yep.
of that breeding program, and
Yep.
I asked him about the iron cutter, and he
Hmm.
actually said they're pretty similar.
Oh, very, very.
They're pretty. They're
Mhm.
pretty similar. They got a lot of similar aspects. My whole thing is I'm cutting at a half inch with the reel mower. Now I don't know how how the iron cutter would iron cutter be okay to cut at a 1/2 inch?
Oh yeah, absolutely, no problem whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. That's why I wasn't sure of the height of cut.
yeah, nope, totally
You know,
fine, and I think that you're not going to see any
Because
problems with that. So
when you read about if you read about some of the iron cutter, it just says 1 inch. It doesn't say, you know what I mean? It doesn't say anything about like you can cut it at a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch like the Hema. So I don't know.
I mean, there's a guy, there's David who's on one of our servers or both of our servers, Mr. Lushlawn. It's got it down there in southern Texas, like Galveston area, I think is where he's at, somewhere like that. And he's got it down to like 3/10, something like that. I mean, it's
Oh,
stupid low,
wow.
and it looks
0.3.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And it
looks
looks good?
amazing. Yeah, go
Right,
on the
okay.
go on the Mountain View or the Iron Cutter Twitter page, and they've got pictures of his stuff posted all over there and on Instagram too. It's a beautiful looking lawn. I don't know that he went
I
dormant this year. I
know.
think it stayed warm enough, and so that's what you could have too. So like I said, can't go wrong with either of them. I hate sounding like a
Right.
shill, but I like them both for different reasons, and they're like my children. I can't hate on one. I gotta beat them both up when I need to, and love on them when I need to as well. So
Yeah, I made a good decision. Like I said,
you did.
it worked for me over here in southern New Jersey. So.
I think more people need to make that choice. I'll be interested to see
Oh, I think
how
so.
yours does.
I think it's starting to catch on, guys. I really do, because you see it more and more up this end now, and
Yeah,
just the aesthetics of it. It's just nice.
it is.
Isn't
Hey,
it?
listen, you're a
It isn't.
trendsetter. You're a
Yeah.
trendsetter.
Do something different, and of course, just know that with the Tahoma 31, how it appeals to me is the fact that Tahoma can live as low as 1/10 of an inch.
Okay.
Tenth, 0.1
Yeah,
inches.
Right. Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
amazing.
I don't. Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like nobody needs to go that low with it, but you can. There's a guy up here in Columbus that he actually has a Tahoma practice putting green, for his kids. They're both pretty competitive golf players, and they have a putting green in their backyard that's probably mowed at probably like
10,
140, 135, something like that. And it's
0.135. Yeah.
Tahoma. It's Tahoma. So
Nice.
I
Well, see, unfortunately for me, before I let you go, because I don't want to tie
yeah,
you up,
you're
I
good.
bought a McLean rail mower, right? That
Oh boy.
because I'm all
Mhm.
green with this. But the lowest the thing cuts is at maybe a 1/2 inch. So I thought I was going to get it lower than that this year, and that's the lowest I can go with it. I would actually want to go lower, but that comes at a cost. So
Yeah, I think the low height, unless you're going to use it for something functional, to me, you know, it's not worth it, right? Uh,
right,
so that's what I would say to that is unless you have a functional use below a 1/2 inch, it's just a
right.
prick-waving
It looks
contest.
nice at a 1/2 inch. It actually does. It actually looks nice. All right. Well, listen, you guys have a good Easter and keep trucking.
Yeah,
God bless you guys. Take care.
happy Easter to you too. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Look at that.
Bye.
Look at that. People making a difference out there in the Bermuda grass world, Ray. Maybe that's it. Is Ray, you live such a tortured life in Hawaii, trying to grow warm season grass where people think you can, but you can't as well as everybody wants you to all the time. Maybe you should come do that, in like Virginia or North Carolina or somewhere in that you would fit in well there. I think that's your sweet spot right there. If we were going to put a circle on the map, I'd take like Richmond, Virginia, and draw like a 300-mile circle right around that, and say that's where
Only
you need to
thing
be.
is for me, Ryan, no to Virginia.
Why?
It's not like Georgia or Tennessee.
You talking about the food or the women?
Food, women, and people in general.
All right, fair enough. I get it.
Okay, I mean it's because to me, Virginia, for lack of a better description, people wise reminds me a little bit too much of Hawaii.
I'll tell you, I would read this if it were or listen to it. We need a in a paragraph or less, Ray's view or his assumptions, observations, or views on every single state in the union. That'll be special content for our patrons someday.
Go ahead,
Caller, you're
cowboy.
live. There you go.
What's going on, boys? It's Aldo again.
Oh, jeez.
¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está, Aldo?
Would you wear? Seriously? Would you wear a sequins jacket with the Mexican flag on the back and the Viva la Mexico, like the thing that
Say no
TK
more.
had?
Yes.
Fuck. Well, I will find somebody who will make this. I will pay money for this.
I expected him to say he already owned it.
And then he's got to wear it to class when he has to go to in-person class for UC Riverside Turf. He's got to wear that like day one. So that's your first day. You always got to have a banging outfit for the first day of school. Like that. That's you have to.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what better way than to celebrate your heritage? All right. What's going on tonight? What are we looking at? Are we looking at homework help, lawn help? Where are we at right now?
Lawn help, I guess. But in typical fashion, I'm always looking ahead and planning ahead like a half a year in advance. And, it's April now. Let's see, April, May, June, July, August, September. So I'm about 5 months away from overseeding season, right? I usually overseed with the ryegrass.
Yeah.
And it was something I wanted to do last year, and I was going to attempt Poa trivialis over here. Now, I know I'm a fucking psychopath for trying something like that, but
why?
Just some general questions because I don't know why. Well, I don't know, like the chances of me contaminating the neighborhood around me. I don't know.
Hard because here's what would happen now, Aldo, is the moment it goes above 90 degrees, that Poa trivialis is screwed. It's not like growing Poa trivialis or having Poa trivialis in the transition zone or the East Coast, where a month at 100 in the daytime and 90 at night essentially means that Poa trivialis is dead. Because, by the way, there is no
safe to say it will die.
Because there's no such thing as Poa trivialis in Hawaii at all.
Right.
No such thing.
So anyway, I just had some general questions about, what should I expect or plan for in regards to the growing. Fertility, is it something like, is it like bent grass where it can be particularly hungry for N early on during the growing? What about like weed control? I mean, I'm only dealing with like, your general run-of-the-mill broadleaves and like Poa annua. I would assume that your general, three-way might be safe on being that it's a monocot, right? I don't know in regards to, if I want to target Poa, if there's anything I can do or I can't. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here.
Right.
Am
I going? Am I going? No.
Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead, okay. Ryan.
So, I don't know about end demand necessarily, in terms of growing per se. I do know that from a standpoint of water management, it's maybe not quite as excuse me, it is a little bit more forgiving than what bent grass is in terms of getting it established. Bent grass, super small seed, and not that this isn't, but super small seed on bent grass to where you really have to manage water well on a growing to get things to come up evenly and accurately across there. So other things to think about would just be timing up and prep on your overseed. So what would be your typical overseed prep for seed bed, like with rye? What are you doing right now?
Scalping as low as I can. and just seed, really. I mean, I actually threw some sand over the top this past year. Not even enough to call it like a quarter inch. It was like barely anything, like just to have something else around it, I guess. But no, not much. Just throw the seed out and then start watering. Start your watering regimen. 4 or 5 times a day. Plenty of pre-plant. Pre-plant. 111, and that's about it.
Any thoughts? So, and what would your overseeding date typically be?
You know what? I've gone as late as Halloween, but this past year I went October 2nd.
Time's up. It's
Really,
over.
I think I could still go even earlier.
Ray, any thought to just a better catch in terms of just overall establishment on the cool season by using a PGR on the Bermuda right before it gets scalped?
Yeah.
Actually, yes. I mean, what I would probably do to the Bermuda if I were, contemplating overseeding something else into it is a week before seeding, actually a week before scalping, Aldo, I would literally put down an STFU rate of Trinexapac on that Bermuda. I mean, I would take it to within an inch of it
Like an
being
ounce?
dead. Yep. I'd put down an ounce
Oh,
of
boy.
Tinex per 1,000 square foot on that Bermuda, scalp her down, and then overseed. And should I see Bermuda growth resume, but then my cool season grass isn't up yet, I give it another ounce. And the whole idea is to reduce competition between the Bermuda grass and the cool season overseed, because I know for you, Aldo, your fall overseed season is kind of touch and go and iffy in that your Bermuda wants to keep on growing. Am I right? It kind of wants to
Yeah,
keep
sure
on
does.
growing
I had
up
that
until the
issue
very
last year. I
until the very
didn't,
end.
hit it with any T-Nex before I overseeded because it was. I mean, I had let that backyard go. I wasn't watering.
Burn them down. Yeah. Reward. And I've even heard of them mixing Reward and T-Nex to make sure.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Because the deal with
Okay, so how about
no?
how about for weed control? Because I can expect a fair amount of broadleaves here, especially around October, November. Can I just hit it with I don't want to go. I would assume right away something like Speed Zone would be a no-go with the Quicksilver in it, right? What is that?
It would actually be a go. It would actually be a go.
Yeah, no problem.
Because the fact,
okay,
the fact of the matter is, Aldo, is that remember our friends in the transition zone and how Poa trivialis is a curse for them because it appears in their lawn and everything that selective and safe that they apply doesn't even touch the Poa trivialis. So, Aldo, Speed Zone is okay. Three-way amine is okay. Even triclopyr is okay. No problem.
Okay.
So you are just okay to do whatever you got to do to control your winter broadleaves. It's not a big deal.
Last question.
Only be
go ahead. Sorry.
The only matter to consider is should you have POA, then that gets interesting because I'm not sure what Esofumicate does to Poa triv. I think it damages it quite a bit.
I don't
damages
know the
it, but
answer
it
to that
doesn't kill it.
question.
Yeah, damages it, but it doesn't kill it. I mean, much to the consternation of our transition zone friends.
Well,
they wish they had something to kill it, but they don't.
I guess we could find out. I could do a little check plot and see what happens if I spray, I don't know, a 1 by 1 little square foot area of that. See what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do a little test patch. Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, find out, and well, my question would be, in any case, when you do these test plots or these check patches, what is your acceptable level of injury?
Yeah.
That's
Right.
always my question, is that because for me, I know I'm willing to put up with almost a total burn down as long as it targets the weed and the desirable turf grass comes back. I'm willing to tolerate that. Just saying.
Okay.
Last two questions. What's your seeding rate going to be on this? Well, 3 questions. Have you selected a cultivar? Number 1. Number 2.
No.
What's your seeding rate going to be? And
I
there's
don't
really
know.
not. Okay. And what are you typically doing for a transition? You got 5 months to figure this out. Time's ticking. Okay, you better get this shit fucking locked down. All right. I'm kidding.
So
All right, anyway.
seeding rate to start. I don't know what's common, especially on like Bermuda. I know like that's like a thing in for putting greens, right? I don't know what would be best, especially if I maintain it at like a half inch. I don't know if that's like too high or too. I know. Well,
A little high.
obviously it's not too low, but
A little high.
okay, I can probably do 3/8.
Quarter.
Would be my lowest.
Quarter.
I can.
Oh, is that the bottom end for the cow trimmer?
Yeah, it sure is.
Bottom it out.
Right.
Get the old tap and die set out and crank a few more threads down on that adjustment thing. Let's do some machining.
Seeding rate, I don't know what's average for
10 to
like,
20
square
usually.
feet. I don't know. Is it like rye? Like 10 pounds?
Yeah,
or
like
20? Okay.
10 to 20 is a typical rate. Yep.
Okay. And what was your other question? Oh, what have I selected?
Transition.
I have seen a couple. Now I can't really like. I mean, just a simple Google search. I can't really go out and like buy Poetrip seed. I know we have our friend Carolina Cutton in the Discord who has a lot of experience with Poetrip, so maybe he can recommend some, or he maybe even ship me out a couple pounds to mess around with.
I will do some work for you with my contact that does quite a bit over there in Palm Springs, and we'll see what the feedback is, what the latest and greatest is out there, and then see if we can get some in your hands when the time comes.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you guys' time.
All right, Aldo. Yeah, good luck to you. And as I said, keep things in mind because, I'm kind of in favor of the temporary burn down for overseeds.
Of course.
I'm in favor, and in fact, one day I'm going to experiment with a temporary burn down on overgrown zoysia.
What was that? Diquat and Tenex?
Yep.
Diquat and Tenex. Yes.
Okay. We'll put that in the
live and learn
the file cabinet to see if may want to give that.
FAFO, Aldo.
Send your kids to a hotel for 48 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Exactly.
Thanks again for your time. Appreciate it. Y'all take it easy.
Okay.
Later, Tater.
Later.
Woo. Yeah, the reward thing.
Yikes.
I mean, so for those of you scoring at home, why would I spray a non-selective on still actively growing Bermuda? And the whole thing is to eliminate as much tissue in the way of your overseed as possible, and to kind of stunt the Bermuda a little bit too, right, Ray?
Yes, and for those of you that are wondering why something's so fucking toxic, it is because diquat or even paraquat have minimal effect on the actual roots and rhizomes of Bermuda and zoysia. You can make an area look like it's dead, and it will grow back next year, no problem. It's not like you're doing something more grievous to it. Like, say, there's a reason why I didn't even mention the Soul Stealer mix or even glyphosate in this case, because I know that something like that would substantially damage the Bermuda to the point where a lot of it won't be coming back next year. There's that to consider, because dicot is only a contact herbicide, meaning that it will kill the green leaves and green stems and green shoots, but it should largely leave the roots and the rhizomes unaffected. They'll survive.
Because, and that's just
it's
the
a
way
contact.
that it contacts.
It's a contact. It's a contact herbicide. Exactly. I mean, I still remember my weed science instructor fooling around and demonstrating in class where he put a drop of diluted reward, I think, on a leaf. I think it was a bean leaf or a tomato leaf. And only where he put that drop, it just burned a hole straight through the leaf. And the rest of the tomato plant was unaffected.
I'm gonna read I'm gonna share a soil test we got from the mailbag here from David out of Fort Worth, Texas. We've got a front yard and we've got a backyard. He's got St. Aug. He's just looking for some guidance or recommendations.
Yeah.
Oh,
that front yard.
Yikes.
Well, Ray Map's going to be David's friend here for quite a while out front. He's got some work to do. Yeah, I mean,
he's
typical
got
Texas soil here. Yeah, but I would start out with Map and AMS. Not really worry too much. That iron, you could maybe worry a little bit about that on the foliar side, but for the most part, I don't know. Ray, what else you got? 4.9% organic matter. Holy smoke! Look at that.
What I would be doing to this lawn, provided it were irrigated, is I see
bulldozing it. Oh,
5 pounds per thousand of Tiger Soul 90 per month during the growing season.
Jesus. Okay.
Yes,
so
because
David,
you see.
Go ahead.
And here's why I would. It's because anytime I see a soil pH over 7, I am getting the heebie-jeebies. And especially when somebody is trying to grow St. Augustine grass.
Well,
because
VAC has
that high
more.
soil pH. Yeah.
VAC is an 8.1.
Exactly. I mean, I am fully triggered and panicked now. And so I would say, screw the buy my shit fertilizers. And somebody's going to be applying and watering in Tiger Soul 90, or Derek on the Discord pointed out this other brand called Martin's 90% sulfur, which is, I guess, their local brand. And that is a sulfur bentonite prill. And so this guy is going to be looking at about 5 pounds of elemental sulfur per month during the growing season, water in well. And he's also going to be looking at, I'd probably say, because it's St. Augustine, all he even needs is maybe some MAP, or I'd even go further.
Uh-oh.
You know what I'd use in this case? I'd use something called triple superphosphate.
Oh, okay.
And you know why triple superphosphate?
Lay it on me.
He doesn't need nitrogen. He has St. Augustine. He doesn't need the nitrogen.
Oh. Some TSP.
I mean,
MKP.
TSP. Yeah, TSP, because you see, pushing nitrogen on St. Augustine is kind of a dangerous path to be on, because I also know something about St. Augustine in Texas, in that the overfed lawn that doesn't have its pH issues addressed is susceptible to 2 particular horrifying and catastrophic diseases: take all patch and large patch. And so you can very well get a temporarily green lawn only to have these diseases come eat your lunch come fall and winter. So, I'm just kind of saying because I know somebody on YouTube's that is a fan of spraying and spreading all kinds of shit on his St. Augustine, and every year he loses that lawn to disease. Not naming names.
Go ahead, cowboy.
Call your live.
Hello, how are y'all?
We're great. How are you?
We're good.
I'm well. Good to speak with y'all. I am calling from Middle Tennessee, right in the part of the transition zone, and I have a question about using T-Nex on fescue.
Okay.
I know that a new is kind of the thing that's in vogue right now for cool season, but I've got a 2.5 gallon jug of T-Nex sitting in my basement, and I don't want to go out and buy a new one that's available. So what's kind of your opinion and experience with that?
Well, let me ask some questions here real quick. You got the tall fescue there, Central Tennessee, and is it irrigated or not? Or just manual, like you'll pull a hose out there if you need to, kind of thing.
Say that again.
Like, do you have an automatic irrigation system, or do you just pull sprinklers when you need to if it's getting real hot and real dry, that sort of thing?
Real toasty, yeah.
I just slave with a sprinkler whenever I can.
Okay. Okay, no, that's fine. That helps out. And then, what's the idea? I guess what's your biggest pain point with? What was the idea of buying that T-Nex originally, and what are you trying to stave off there in terms of, growth? Is it because it's just a bearcat to maintain in the spring and maybe even in the fall when the season extends a little bit longer, or what was your thought process originally when you got it?
Well, originally when I got it, I purchased it for Bermuda, trying to grow in Bermuda, and then I started kicking around thoughts of using it on the fescue whenever I started learning more about fescue, and of course the strategy involved in trying to push the roots in the spring so that you have a greater kind of impetus for getting through the heat of the summer with deeper root systems.
Yep. Yeah, so they call that, at the time when they researched that, 20 some odd years ago, they termed that pre-stress conditioning. And what they found there in that research was that, just as you said, sir, is that, by reducing the amount of cell elongation and growth, with the shoots, right, that preserved energy, carbohydrate reserves in the roots, so that you had, deeper, stronger, more with larger mass in the root system, right, so that it could withstand some of the stresses of summer a little bit better, because we see a sloughing off or a shrinking of roots during that time. So, okay, so have you used any of this stuff so far yet this season as of April 6th?
No, sir.
Okay. So here's what I would say, and Ray, jump in here whenever you'd want. The first thing I'll tell you is that the use rate on the label for turf type tall fescue is way too high. Like, it is,
Too
in
much.
the dispensary with a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, too high. Okay. So skip that.
Okay.
33 fluid ounces per acre ain't going to work. I would back that rate down to somewhere around, say, about half of an ounce per 1,000 square feet, or about 22 ounces per acre. And that's going to be a very safe rate to get yourself started. And I think really what you'll find is that you'll still get a good reduction in clippings, and you'll still have a lot of that pre-stress conditioning. If you go out at 33 ounces per acre, somebody's going to show up at your house and be like, how did you kill your lawn and what happened to it? It's not going to die, but it's going to look really, really rough for a good couple of weeks until it grows out of that. So I would not do that. I would stick with the 22 ounce per acre rate, or the half ounce per 1,000 rate. That's same rate, same ratio there. So that all being said, I would start as soon as you possibly can. Okay. and you're probably going to stop there in Central Tennessee, probably make your last application. So I would say, let's just look at the calendar here real quick. So let's just say this weekend you were able to get out there and make an application. So that's April 8th. And you got to remember that the way that this stuff works, because science, Joe, I know you're watching and you love science, and so does this guy here. The way the science works on this is that the grass metabolizes this through the amount of heat, essentially, and growth that the grass goes through at a certain period, right? So we can measure this in certain ways. I'm not going to get into that right here, right now, but I could say that definitively, or
Time's
pretty
up,
definitively.
it's over.
No. I'll tell you when it's over. All right. That this is going to last somewhere in the neighborhood of about in your neck of the woods with the forecast that you have, probably somewhere around maybe like 10 days, 14 days right now with the temps that you've got. Okay, 14 days would be like the absolute max. So let's say that you make that application here on the 8th. Again, just roundabout dates here, but the 8th of April, and let's say we get another 2 weeks, so that puts us out to the 22nd. And then again, your intervals are going to be shortening, hopefully, because it's going to be heating up more and more and more, right, as we get into the first part of May. So May 6th is your third app, and then that last app, let's just say it cranks down to like 10 days because you're heating up and getting going here. So if that last app's on May 6th, then 7 days and 3, so about May 16th, May 17th, so that'd be like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday after Mother's Day, and after that, if you're unirrigated, I would shut it down. I would stop it. Okay. And the reason I say that is on unirrigated turf, if you're getting, steady rainfall, things like that, you might be okay. I've done a lot of it on unirrigated tall fescue or mixed stands of cool season. And it's such a crapshoot that if you don't really know, don't have a ton of experience with it, and you're not okay with damaging or seeing discolorations and things like that, then I would just say stop, for the summertime. Mother Nature will kind of take care of you because, between the heat and the fescue and everything that you have there in Central Tennessee, it's going to slow it down sufficiently and you'll be fine. And at that point, you're just playing defense and trying to hang on anyway with respect to your roots and your tall fescue, okay? So that's kind of the strategy that I would go if if it was a direct question of, hey, what should I do and how should I use this? An app this weekend, an app again on the 26th, an app again around about the 6th of May, and then give yourself about 10 more days, put one more app out, and this is all at that 22 ounce per acre or half a fluid ounce per thousand rate. Make sure your sprayer is calibrated well. Make sure your dead nut's on that rate, and I'd say give it hell.
Okay.
Sure. And
very good.
The other thing that I would have to add is that, that 10 to 14 day application interval, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
Doesn't that alter also based on the fact that this is a higher cut grass?
Yeah, so more tissue. I mean, there's definitely an effect there that's accounted for both in the label and that most recent research that looks at, the metabolism of the active ingredient inside the plant. That all being said, though, that 33 ounce rate is it's too high. Like you're going to make stuff look awful. But again, that's why it's a good safe rate to start with. You're going to see that noticeable difference both in terms of the mowing reduction. You're going to see it in terms of overall root health going into summer. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, and the only reason why I bring up the height is because the height of cut, and from what I've seen in higher cut grasses versus green height grasses, is that the grass tends to metabolize trinexapac a lot more slowly if it is taller cut. And that's also related to how, when you're actually applying it, the leaf surface is intercepting a lot more product versus spraying this out on 1/10 inch height grass. So that is where, when you said to chop that rate down to only a half an ounce per 1,000 square foot, that's also like very good idea. In fact, if it were me, not knowing anything about your turf area, I would even look at like, say, a 16 ounce per acre application rate for the first application, and then raising up my rate if I don't get enough growth regulation out of that 16 ounce. I mean, the rule with Trinexapac especially is to, I guess, start on the low, and in fact lower than what the label tells you to do, and then work up, and that also mitigates or reduces what people frequently see from a first application at an excessively high rate, and that would be bronzing or browning of the
Yeah.
turf.
Yeah.
Right, Ryan?
Yeah, you can. So and that's a good point Ray brings up. I know Matt's talked about this before a lot with his approach to using PGR, and he's coming at it from the angle of using it in Tennessee and using it on a cool season there. I know we've talked to Paul Outlaw before about this a lot, where he does use he used to use T-Nex and now uses Anu a lot. But yeah,
He prefers
starting off
Anu,
on a lower rate. If you want to go all the way down to
Mhm.
16, there is no harm in that. Like, there really isn't any rate that you would go to unless you went like down to like a greens rate of like 6 ounces to the acre or something like that. That you
4
wouldn't
ounces
see a
per acre.
response.
Yeah,
That you
yeah.
wouldn't see a response where you're like, oh, hey, this is nice. And it's just finding that upper limit of where you're like, okay, like that's a little bit of a different color that I don't like, and that's where I'm going to stop, right? So, and it's
Yeah.
going to take some time. It's going to take some time to figure that out. I think what you ought to do though is pick a program and stick with it on the intervals and the rates, and just monitor that whole process. If you start trying to like press gas and brake and everything, like you want to just be measured with that, right? Don't turn it into a a race or something like that. So that's my thoughts on it. I think Ray's out for some good stuff, and I know what Matt would tell you is start low and see how it goes. So report back to us though. I'm
Yeah.
interested to hear how it goes, and use up that 2.5 gallons, and maybe you can get something else. If you don't like that.
Yes, sir. Well, that's all very helpful. I really appreciate your expertise on that. If I could dovetail into just one other question, I know we're way past
Sure.
time. So also regarding T-Nex, what is your? I know you just mentioned running it at 6 ounces per acre in a green situation. So let's say you threw out sod squares, or you had a common Bermuda yard that you're trying to weed out and grow in. What is kind of like if you're not having to come month to month, if you can do whatever you want whenever you want, what would be your approach with a PGR on making that stuff spread as fast as possible? Just strictly talking about
Okay.
PGR. I know there's
Oh,
other things
okay.
you can do with sand and stuff, but just
Okay.
strictly.
Ray, you go first.
Okay, the way that I would handle it and approach it is I would start to use T-Nex on, say, common Bermuda at way under their suggested use rate for common Bermuda, in that I'd be looking at 8 to 16 ounces per acre, not 32.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because over the years, what I've observed with Trinexapac on these warm season grasses is that when you use them at less than damaging rates, when you use them at rates where your vertical growth is reduced slightly, what happens is, provided you're also feeding enough NP and K, your lateral growth and your root and rhizome growth is increased. Because here's the deal with using something like Trinexapac. It reduces the amount of energy the grass expends on vertical growth and increase in the size of the grass leaves. But because you've reduced that growth and that use of energy, the grass still has that energy, and so the grass puts that energy towards making roots, making stolons, making rhizomes. So it's a good thing for grass that you're trying to get to fill in, because I do that all the time on lawns that are thin. I give it just a very moderate amount of Trinexapac. Very moderate amounts, not the full shut it down kind of a rate. And however, if you're talking about grass that is thin, you yourself need to do some investigation and find out, why is this Bermuda thin? Is the NPK right? Are you trying to grow it on soil that is too acid, for example? I mean, there's a lot more to it versus, the grass is not growing, because whenever somebody comes to me telling me that the grass is not growing, I find out that there's often major issues regarding NPNK or else pH. That's their actual problem. Because by rights, Bermuda grass should grow like hell, and you almost need to beg it to stop growing under normal circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,
Well,
there's
I'm glad you
questions.
said that, because that explains what I've been running into in the past in using Bermuda. Is I have mistakenly put out the full suggested rate all at once, and I haven't seen any tip burn or any damage necessarily, but it turns it blue, and it doesn't do anything lateral or vertical growth. And so I think that
that is just a little bit hot. Yeah, just a little bit hot with it, because as I said, if I'm trying to encourage fill-in on a lawn, I'm playing between 8 to 16 ounces per acre. That's my normal rate, and of course, I go higher if for whatever reason there's a lawn that is well established, already thick, and I need to shut it down for a month. Then I'll play with the higher rates. But then if I'm talking about encouraging density, the lower rates are where it's at.
Gotcha. Very good.
Okay.
And final question: would you have the same approach on 419?
Absolutely on 419. If anything, with 419, pay attention to your rates, because 419 can be rather sensitive to Trinexapac. Be careful. Pay attention,
Yes, sir. So would you step it down
just watch
a
it.
hair?
Yeah, because you see, when I'm dealing with 419, I already consider 8 ounces per acre a rather high rate on 419. That's pretty much a stout amount on 419, because if you're spraying regularly on 419, usually that's like 6 to 8 ounces per acre, unless the turf grass is highly over fertilized and highly overwatered. Then you're looking at up to 16 to 20 ounces per acre to get, growth regulation. Right?
Okay. Very good. Very good. Thanks, guys. That's very helpful, and I appreciate you giving me so much time.
No worries. Appreciate you asking
Most
questions.
welcome.
Thanks for calling in, man.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
There you go. All right, we've got an outbound call to make. Who's the mystery caller? What are we gonna do? Who are we calling?
It's just random.
Okay.
Pizza Hut. I think they answered. I think they're making us wait for it.
You there?
Hello, boys.
Hey, is this? I saw this number. I saw this number on the wall at Buc-ee's. Is this Trixie with the dump truck ass?
Greetings from the transition zone.
Paul Outlaw, how you doing, man?
Paul Outlaw. I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you boys?
I'm glad to hear your voice. Glad to hear your voice.
Yeah,
What's
man.
going on?
Yeah, not much, man. I've been laid up a little while. I had a busted up knee I've been able to
Ooh.
ride around on my permagreen a little, get a little
All
stuff
right.
done. What you guys got going on?
All right.
I'm picturing you like fabbing up a knee brace or something to that permagreen so you can like ride it in style. Just buckle yourself on there like you're RoboCop or some shit.
You're not far away from the truth. Not far at all.
I'm telling you, I fucking knew how you
there was
would
no
like. I knew that.
fabrication involved, but there was a knee brace and a permagreen in there somewhere.
Yeah, well,
I got you pegged, Paul. I know how it goes.
hey, I mean, because I'm envisioning what I call the Morticia Adams legging, where it gets bolted together with a drill, with an impact drill.
That's what I'm saying. It's like RoboCop or Inspector Gadget stuff.
Make that sucker tight.
Anything. The doctor gave me something already made, but if I had to make something, man, I would have. But it would have been some kind of wood stick involved or leftover something from a bucket or something. I don't know, man. But,
scab together U-channel post you stole from a stop sign you cut down, something like that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Old tree stake.
There you go.
Something.
So how's the grass down there? Is everything waking up?
It's I mean, as of today, it's awesome. I mean, Feskew's doing what Feskew ought to do. Poan's doing what Poan you ought to do. The warm season grasses are in and out, and I mean, as of today, they're green. But I think we're supposed to have some cool temperatures this weekend. So I mean, maybe we'll set it back for the fourth time. I don't know. I haven't really done anything fertilizer wise on warm season, but we've been knocking weeds off of it. But that's about it. But you'll love this. I got out today and on a bunch of fescue yards and sprayed fungicides and growth regulator and fertilizer and weed control.
Nice.
Man, the full compliment. Yeah, this is that's the thing about down there. I think that people don't realize, and for our pro audience in particular, is like how much stuff you really need to get done to sort of get ready for what's to come in the summer. On those cool season lawns there in your part of the transition zone. I think here, a lot of guys round 1, round 2 it's just more of like getting the right weather and ground conditions and everything like that to get it, get through everything. But yeah, it's a completely different challenge down there. So I mean, I empathize and I appreciate what you do down there because it's a lot, and then you gotta just have to hang on for dear life. So that's my question to you is, the weather down there in particular has been pretty crazy the last 4 or 5 years, something like that. I mean, so
it has.
Do you think? I mean, what's your this is like Farmer's Almanac, tarot card reading bullshit right now. But what do you think? What is it shaping up to look like as far as the summer? Is it going to be a tough summer, a more normal summer, an easy summer? What's your gut telling you right now? I'm curious.
I mean, if it rains and doesn't freeze again, I mean, we're set up for gold. But I mean, if it doesn't rain and if it were to get a heavy frost again, I mean, who knows? But I mean, I mean, right now everything is well on track to good. The Feskew's as good as I've ever seen it. But the weeds are as good as I've ever seen them too. The weeds are right; they're growing.
Ready for that first herbicide application to take them down. You can't discount
we've been making herbicide applications since the first of the year. On everything, cool season, warm season, you name it. But right now, I'm trying to perk up my less perky fescue yards with a hit, and any of them I did probably 80% of them with an ethyl fumicate app in the fall, just one app.
Okay.
And the ones that I didn't, I'm paying an extreme penalty right now, and I'm going back trying to do something to stop the blue
my
growth
goodness.
regulator new on them, seeing what it does.
Yep.
I had done one a few weeks ago that was pretty bad. Had some pretty bad poannu in it, and the people who own the house, they don't live there. They live up north, and they just come down like they're coming down for Easter. So we needed to dress that one up, and I'd done it a few weeks ago with the anew actually, and the guy who mows it had mowed it today, and I went back and looked at it, and it looks pretty good actually. I was a little shocked, but I mean it looks great. But I had hit some fescue today that I didn't do the ethofumicate on, and one of them was about 2 acres, and man, it had bad poannu in it, and I sprayed it with the 1 pound rate of anew, and we'll see what that does. Fertilized it pretty heavy too, because it was infilling as good as I thought. The irrigation there is sketchy, to say the least. But if I've got a question for you guys, it's right now I'm also trying to get taken care of. I got a bunch of landscapers that I spray once or twice a year, and I'm kind of going out on the blind on these guys because I don't know what type of grass they got on these places, and it's all warm season. But it could be Bermuda, it could be zoysia, it could be centipede, it could be all three of them in one yard. But right now what I'm trying to hit those with is this late into the season, because everything's transitioning, and I hate to spray centipede when it's transitioning, but I'm in a rock and hard place. I got no choice. This is when it's got to be done. But I'm right now going out with about 3 pints of change up, a full rate of certainty, and a little pre-emergent on them. And a half an ounce of half to 0.3 ounces of manner. What kind of concoction would y'all suggest for those kind of yards?
Okay, Paul, when I'm talking about possibly dealing with some centipede and some Bermuda, my preference as far as my broadleaf, three-way runs straight towards speed zone. You see, there's two herbicides that I don't care for on Bermuda, centipede, or St. Augustine. Number one is fluroxapyr. I don't like fluroxapyr on those grasses. Number two, I don't care for MCPA on those grasses, because MCPA happens to be, I guess, the weaker version of 2,4-D as far as the weeds are concerned. However, warm season grasses tend not to tolerate that particular phenoxy herbicide very well. I mean, my preference is always towards, I guess, a 2,4-D based three-way, and preferably an ester base at this time of the year, because it's still a little bit cool. So I'm definitely a speed zone fanboy, or I'll even roll my own speed zone of 3/4 of a pound of 2,4-D ester and an ounce of dicamba per acre, and the ounce of quicksilver per acre added to that as well. I roll my own.
Only an ounce of dicamba, Ray?
And dicamba, yeah. I like
ounce?
dicamba. Only an ounce, Paul. Only 1 ounce of dicamba. So what that translates down to is no more than 4 ounces per acre of Banvel or Vanquish. Do not apply more, because the moment you do, all the trees in that lawn will be giving you the finger. Don't ask me how I know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oops.
Okay. I mean, don't ask me how I know.
That's
I mean,
that's a surprisingly low rate. That's good information.
No, it is because
the Bermuda seems more or less bulletproof, and I mean, if these were lawns that I was going to be putting in a program or something, I would I would just pick a grass and just and you know which one it would be, and I'd kill that centipede. But these aren't really the options. We just kind of want to clean them up and get these guys by so they don't have to mow it so often. But I'm shocked about the 1 ounce of dicamba per acre.
Well, you see, because for many years before there was a such thing as Speed Zone, I used to literally treat lawns with, 4 ounces of Banville and a quart per acre of 2,4-D ester. And that combination has served me extremely well, and amazingly, that is the combination that most of the warm season grasses tolerate without any issue. They'll tolerate it, no problem. And I'm talking about sensitive grasses like even low-cut Bermuda or low-cut seashore paspalum. It'll tolerate it. So
you think the centipede is okay with Speed Zone?
Oh, sure. Yeah, Speed Zone is fine on centipede. Just mind your rates. Don't go particularly high. And like when I'm doing Speed Zone red on warm season grass, I'm thinking more like a quart per acre on Speed Zone red. I just go light, and of course, if I'm adding my label rate of certainty, and get this one, Paul, 0.25 ounce per acre of manure, which is the MSM 60DF. That's all you need when you have those other herbicides in combination, and you'd be surprised at how thoroughly the weeds die on that. Okay, they die.
I mean,
and it's not a matter
like
of
a cost-effective, a real good cost-effective,
and safe, because because I can tell you that when I had to take care of this large property that had almost an acre of zoysia, and it had an infestation of broadleaf weeds on it, that was my mix, was dicamba, 2,4-D, manure, and certainty. And it worked well. Everybody was happy.
Good. And
right.
I mean, I know you
So
don't deal a lot with cooler weather, but manure, certainty, things like that. If I do drop back into some, say, below 50-degree temperatures, is it okay to still spray? And I mean, especially something like manure. I mean, is it still going to be hanging around when it warms up?
It sure will, because what's going to happen is that provided the weed absorbs it, what will happen is that as soon as it warms up, Paul, that certainty and that manure is going to start working again as soon as it warms up. As soon as it warms up, it kicks in, and what's also in your favor is that oil-based solvent present in the 2,4-D ester of the Speed Zone will help the penetration of the other herbicides. And I've got one more for you. If you do embark on this, I highly suggest that at this time of the year, you apply it with a methylated seed oil surfactant.
I mean, earlier in the season, I use some different things, but usually a methylated seed oil or crop oil concentrate in there with it. With this crop oil concentrate or methylated seed oil or methylated seed oil?
Definitely methylated seed oil, because methylated seed oil, Paul, is going to help get your manure and your certainty into the weed better than most other surfactants. So that's just to make sure, because, by the way, Paul, typically when I'm messing around with 2,4-D ester, my temperatures here in Hawaii are in the 70s, and my nights drop as low as 55. And the reason why I'm doing it at this time is That way, I don't have the risk of the 2,4-D becoming volatile and killing the entire neighborhood. So I try to pick my times for cooler weather. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other flip side to that is maybe my sulfonylurea tank mix might not work as well in that cooler weather. So that's why I tend to add methylated seed oil as the surfactant to, give it that extra help.
Would you do that with any sulfonylurea?
I definitely jam that in there when we're in the February, March time frame. But I'd kind of gotten away from the seed oil now that it's warmed up some. Usually when I spray something like what's that stuff called? Bear, daggone it, I'm forgetting. But I always run seed oil with
Celsius. Are you doing Celsius or
Celsius,
Tribute Total?
Yeah, sorry,
Celsius or Tribute.
Yeah.
Or Revolver.
Yes.
Those herbicides to me are essentially wasted if you aren't applying them with methylated seed oil. They're wasted. Okay.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah, you're not getting full effect. I mean, like, I remember some golf guys coming to me and asking, how come this Celsius ain't worth shit on my, grassy weeds in the fairway? And I asked them, okay, guys, what kind of surfactant did you put in your tank? He said, oh, we just use non-ionic surfactant. And it's like, yeah, that's your problem. That's kind of your problem. If you did it with methylated seed oil, you'd see that grassy weed up and die.
Someday we need Drill Sergeant Ray. We need Ray to go full Gunnery Sergeant Hartman on some people. I need that in my life at some point.
Yeah. Screw you, boys! If you don't use that methylated seed oil, you'll die.
That's right. Live a little.
Yeah, I agree with him on that. And Celsius is one of those that's butt slow unless it's about 300 degrees outside. And if you don't put the seed oil in it, you don't see. But I mean, you put the seed oil in it, it's a whole different animal. That stuff is incredible for what it costs.
Yeah, well, for me, Celsius with methylated seed oil is basically how I get rid of carpet grass and crabgrass here in Hawaii. That's basically how I do it, is I give it a hit with Celsius and methylated seed oil in the warmer part of the year, and I just watch it turn brown. And the other trick to this is do not spot spray this mix. In fact, Bear had to put out a bulletin telling people not to spot spray Celsius if they've tank mixed it with a surfactant. People were burning holes in the lawns. Yeah, they were burning holes. But then if you broadcast spray at the label rate and your equipment is calibrated, no worries. It'll do well for you.
Where's Matthew tonight?
Who's that?
It is Lilia's birthday. It's Lilia's birthday, Paul.
Happy birthday. Happy 7th birthday to Lilia. Matt being a good father and showing her a good time and having fun with the fam. So we're glad that he was
Chuck E. Cheese.
Able to take the night off and do that. So
yeah, or wherever they end up. Although Matt said that Lilia had a special request for tonight, but that couldn't be fulfilled.
Oh no! What was that?
Lilia wanted another one of my thin crust 3 cheese pizzas.
You should have sent that on dry ice, like a take and bake or something, right? Next time, we will get there.
Oh, man.
Paul, you got to come on the show.
I'll take one of those if you put some meat on top of it.
Oh,
no! Hey, I mean, my usual Paul is about a pound of pepperoni and Another pound of Italian sausage. That's my usual. Believe it or
We've
not.
got a place here, Ray, that makes its own sausage, and you can get them to make you some Italian sausage. And man, on some homemade pizzas, that stuff is incredible.
Oh, I can imagine.
Like a oven?
No, I don't have a conventional oven, a pizza oven. I just have this 3/8 inch, cast iron plate that lives in my oven full time, and I just heat that sucker up to about 500 degrees, and I throw the pizza on that, brown crust and all.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get your crust off of the peel onto the thing, man? That's where I have
Parchment
trouble
paper.
when I make my own pizza crust. It sticks.
Parchment paper.
Little bit of parchment paper, like a circle of parchment paper under the dough, and the thing. Then the guy just slides right off. And the other hint that I can give you is, because home ovens don't get as hot as the wood or coal-fired pizza ovens, I pre-bake crusts for at least a couple of minutes before topping them. That way,
you can do that. Yeah, if you're doing that, if you're using that, I got, instead of getting the pizza like the stone or the steel or whatever, I got I don't know if it's a KitchenAid, something like that. It's a pizza stone inside its own little like convection oven thing, like it's an appliance, like a mixer or whatever. Best thing I've ever bought.
Ryan. That's what I was asking. I wear that thing out.
I do. I make so many pizzas on the thing, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, isn't that like kind of a Sunday night thing for you, or a weekly thing for you, Ryan?
Oh yeah, I make pizza
almost.
Once a week. Right, homemade dough, homemade sauce, not homemade pepperoni. I'm not that hardcore, but
your kids have it good. Your kids have it good. I gotta say.
Listen, you don't get this big without being able to cook, right? All right, I'm just gonna say that.
I got some kind of thing from the Williams-Sonoma, Brenville or something, but it's a pizza.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I got. That's it. Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah.
The thing will get like 600 degrees. But yeah, it'll cook the shit out of a frozen pizza or something in minutes. But whenever I try to make my own dough, I can't get it off the peel. And if I put a bunch of, what do you call it? Some manila flour.
Semolina?
Semolina flour, yeah.
Freaking
Parchment paper will change your life, Paul. You can go get it at Walmart.
I got it right. See? I learned something. I'm gonna
see.
Just a circle of
parchment paper. This is why you call in the show.
Parchment paper on my damn pizza.
Yeah. You unroll your dough on that circle of parchment paper, and then you can slide the whole business into your pizza oven, and then when it's time, you just peel that paper off the bottom of the crust, and you're all good to go, and no one will be the wiser.
Woohoo!
Let's see that. Better pizza, better turf.
Pizzerias, so I feel like I'm
Papa Ray's.
Exactly.
That's right. Paul, thanks for calling in, man. Come on the show soon. We'll have J Pink reach out to you. All right.
Good to
we love
talk
you, man.
to you.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, Paul.
See you, fellas. Love you. Bye.
See you, Paul.
Look at that. Paul Outlaw, you can have a real conversation. He is a real dude. I mean, talking about fabricating. Who are we calling here?
It's just random.
Hello, and thank you for calling Lush Lawns. We're unavailable to reach the phone right now. Please leave your name, number, and message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
If you're not reaching for the phone, what are you reaching for?
Get fucked.
Get fucked. Get fucked.
Get fucked.
Get fucked.
Hey,
I'm up, motherfucker.
I got 37 rotary blades that need to be sharpened. Is this the Blade Raper Enterprises? Can I?
Oh yes, it is. We have one fat motherfucker that will grind those motherfuckers into submission, and they will never ask to be grind again.
Can I ask you? Listen. I don't want to change the names to protect the innocent. I do. I just want to know a first name. What is this gentleman's first name?
Oh, Reginald. We'll go with Reginald. It's not true, but we'll call him Reginald.
Reginald. All right. Well, Reginald, yeah. So we'll have to post that video sometime. But literally, the most horrifying experience of sharpening a rotary blade that I've ever seen in my life. Lushy treated me to that many moons ago.
A few years ago.
So
many moons ago.
Many moons ago. Now, one other important question for Lushy, and if you don't know Lushy, he is one of, if not the best friend of the show. A great all around dude up there in Boston area, Providence, really, Providence, we'll call it.
Yeah, a little more in we were in the Providence, southeastern Massachusetts, Zoysia area. If you have Zoysia, we will kill it. Thank you for calling.
There you go. Now, listen, what's the latest and greatest at Lush Lawns? What's the, you're a custom blend guy. You do all these, you try to keep an edge. I call it the Lush Factor edge, because you're always trying to tweak something to get just a little bit better. And that's what I love about you. The one thing you haven't figured out, though, is how to make the vice president of the company wear a belt around his pants with regularity. We're still working on that, but you
got to keep them widows and mills looking and wanting and pulling. They want to pay that premium price, and that's for that service. They want to see that hot ass going by, and they want to know that they might have a chance to get it.
I have an alternate idea. No, I have an alternate idea.
Easy access.
No, I have the alternate
idea.
Easy
lawn care. How can I help you?
Yeah, he needs actually what the vice president needs is the vice president needs a little bit of cake. That way, his pants don't fall down because.
He's gonna get, if he keeps.
Trust
me.
Right
now, my pants.
The vice president has way more booty than the president. The president's got a little Irish ass, and he's got himself a little Telly Coleman ass, and that's the only thing that's holding those pants from falling down.
I'm not worried about the pants falling down. I'm worried when the pants fall down. I think homeboy's got plenty of cake, or at least the opportunity for that said cake. So, all right, what's going on in Lush Factor world? What's the most pressing problem for you right now? Let me ask that question, and let us help you. Because I know when your mind starts racing, boy, it's intense. I've been there with you before. So right now, what could we do to help you either feel better or maybe make you not sleep at all tonight?
Wait, who wants a text at 3 a.m.? That's what I want to know. And that, by the way, that's Eastern Standard Time.
You can text me whenever you want.
Which I will be texting you. Because that's generally when I'm thinking about when I'm going to actually, what I'm going to do now, and oh shit, and trying to go back to sleep for 6 doesn't work.
I get it. 100%. So what's the most pressing
problem?
I
just, economy, I think, has slowed it down a little bit. It's also very, very early for us in the season.
Let me ask you
we were lucky to get a good jump out early. So our clientele is doing very well as far as applications. So new client pickups are just starting to come in. It literally has just started ringing in the past week, the phone.
So this is in Ohio. I'm curious of what this is like in other parts of the country, and probably something we'll start asking our pros that we talk to a little bit more. But the things I'm hearing here is that renewals are at or above the last 3 years. Those rates are running above. That prepays are up pretty much across the board. And that the calls for new business or inbound leads, things like that, are down, but not like way, way down. Just, kind of like, they're noticeable. How's that is probably the best way I could put it. So I'm just curious and seeing what people think. And the gist of what I'm hearing from folks here is that the people that have always had money, they're in, no problem. Everything's good. The the folks that are more, middle class and that sort of thing are maybe clamping down a little bit more and, reducing scope, or just, casting services aside, or, taking, things off the table. So is that, what are you seeing in your neck of the woods?
So I would say, because again, we're very early, really very early in the season. I would say we're probably at a 80% sign up from last year, 20% still lingering. I've probably had 5% that didn't renew. Now, mind you, I am a big proponent, and I've said it before, and I know Ryan's a big thing of like, your numbers. Well, what the hell does that actually mean? And I've spent all winter going over all my costs, everything that I went out over. Ryan, you and I have talked of. I went over 1,600 different jobs of times and materials, and went over everything to find out exactly what we spent on every individual property, how much time, how much material. We went over everything. So everybody got a price increase, and prices are still up. Like, we honored our price from the March, April of last year. Well, prices for us have increased from that. They increased through the season last year, but we didn't increase our prices. Good or bad, we didn't. We increased them this year. We've had an increase. I would say for us, and we've had a pretty healthy increase cost-wise, again, for a second year in a row. I would say we've had a marginal, minor, maybe 5% loss in customers. Which
Let me ask you
right.
that.
And maybe some of those customers are kind of the fringe, not really what we want to do.
I was just going to ask that question. Is of those 5%, right?
5%.
Oh, wow. Hear myself. Of those 5%, if you just quickly, are there any in there that you were like, man, I'm really like sad, burn up that I lost that customer?
Maybe a couple. Just because you're like, that's a good customer, or I've had them for a long time. But then you never know what their economics are personally inside of a home.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it last week in Geno's Turf. Just because you have a C-Class Benz in your driveway, Ray, does not necessarily mean that your yard is indicative of a C-Class Benz lawn, right?
No, but you can get a triple application on the left side of your house of something that will not make turf grow for at least a year.
Yeah.
Don't,
I mean, that's
don't
just,
drill a well there either. Like, oops.
Yeah, don't drill a well.
Hey, don't drink the dew water or anything from that side of the house. That's bad.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, well,
he's a nice guy, I'm sure.
Yeah, but then that
she was elderly. It's all right.
In that, when you raised prices, did that mean that your remaining customers were also relatively, how shall I say, the ones you want to keep?
Yeah.
When you raised your price.
Yeah.
The ones that.
So what
the ones you want to keep.
We took a very close look at every single customer, every single application, the amount of time we actually spent on every individual job application that we were there. We knew what we spent last year as far as an overhead for our direct cost, indirect cost, and we associated that to our hourly rate. So, if we're there for 15 minutes, we know how much we want to charge for a labor cost of an application.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have our material costs. Now, material costs have gone up, but we're also incorporating all that other indirect cost, direct cost, all of that into our labor rate. So we want to make sure that that's all being injected into that. So, this is now your calculated rate of what it's going to cost. Oh, and by the way, there's also profit added on top of that, and a healthy one. Because I'm not here to do this because I like it. So if I do it because I like it, I just do my own yard.
Yeah, because Leshy, one of my mentors, dearly departed Francis. I mean, may he rest in peace. What this guy told me is, he said, Ray, you don't run a nonprofit organization. Okay, that was something that this.
True.
This old guy
It's true,
told me,
and
he said, "Ray, you don't run a."
and trust me, I am not fallible, nor am I not afraid. I get panic attacks like everybody else that's in this
Well,
industry that is freaking out. Like, oh my God, am I going down the right course? Am I doing this right? Like I talked to
that's normal. That just shows you care. I
Brett.
mean, if you have emotions like
Well,
that means you care. That's a good thing.
So we just want to make sure we're
Yeah.
doing it right and following the right course. I want to make sure the
Well, I
VP
think
can eat. He's a big
well,
boy. He's got to eat.
here's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Whenever there's that pushback, we hear this a lot in different cases, right? Whether it's from our clients or people that are in the business that we like, business owners that we consult with, right? And my thing always back to a client or would be, how much risk do you want me to assume, right? Like, okay, so let's just take like a True Green or somebody like that. Some of this bargain basement's gonna come in there and give you the $29.95 first treatment and all that kind of stuff. Like, they assume very little risk in terms of if something gets messed up, well, yeah, there might be a callback or something like that, but pretty much they're just gonna kick the can down the road and realize that there's enough churn in their business that they could replace that customer with somebody else, and it's not worth their time, right? Or the risk that they've assumed with the cost structure.
They're going to replace them They're going to replace them threefold. That's a numbers thing. Like, they're going to replace that person that quits and loses True Green. They're going to replace them 3 times.
And I think that's the differentiator, right? It's not the this is something that has seemed to resonate a little bit more with the type of clients I think that you and most of the people on here would like to work with are people that care, right? And I think the point that you can say that, hey, we're smarter, we're more educated, we're more professional, we're more this. I don't know that means anything to them until you say, listen, we're going to take all that stuff that I just told you about, right? All those little attributes and things that are different and important about us, and we're going to package them up, and we're going to assume more risk than the next guy would take, and we're going to price that risk accordingly, right? Because we want it to be right, and we're going to do what it takes to get it right, up to a certain point that you're willing to pay for, right? And Leslie, you and I talked about that, tiers of pricing and things like that, and all those tiers add up to more services that hedge that risk on your side, right? Hey, I'll assume more risk, but I'm going to do more stuff to prevent something bad from happening. And more so than that, make sure that good stuff happens and we make progress and we see gains and things like that. So I don't know. I think when you start explaining it to people like that, it makes a little bit more sense because they're used to things like that. They're used to, buying insurance and things like that. I think it helps them understand a little bit better of why you're different. And then you can back into the whole education piece, the training, the experience, all those types of things that set you apart and help you set them up to be successful and hedge that risk a little bit better. So I don't know,
Ryan,
there's not really a point there, I guess. It just made me think of conversations I've been having recently.
The people that I end up being able to work for are the people that understand this particular system of turf grass and landscape management is more like an insurance policy for their lawn and landscape. The people that can understand that and grasp that concept, I can work for them for decades.
I'll give you a micro example of a conversation that flipped like that, Ray. So we have one of our clients is a pretty big applicator. They do a lot of like what I would consider to be like not industrial type turf, like right of ways and things like that, but more so like, big warehouse complexes, like stuff that's really at scale. I mean, like, rounds of like, 8 properties or a route of like 8 properties that's like 70 acres, right? Split between 8 properties, and that's like a route for somebody, just to go rip through. And this the couple of the companies that they were working with, as far as the property managers, things like that, were like, hey, we need to save some money. We're going to cut out grub treatments. And all of these properties have had grub issues over the years, right? So they're like, well, what do we do? Because we know we're going to get called back, and we know we're going to get our dicks kicked in, and what do we do? And I said, well, here it's a simple risk adjusted sell, right? You say, okay, I do rope treatments for X number of dollars, right? And here is the break even point at the scale that you're at, right? Of the number of square feet that if they get destroyed by grubs or ripped up by animals or whatever the case might be, that we'll have to go back in and aerate and seed and do all this other stuff to repair it, right? Here's that number, right? In terms of number of square feet, and it's exceptionally low, right? Like I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it was under an acre, right? And these are sites that have like tens of acres, right? So to go in there and show that to the folks, the powers that be, it's like, well, shit, like I could pay like 5x or 6x fixing all this shit if we don't do this. Well, all they did was take the same sales tactic of like, hey, you guys are, missing the boat here, back to here's the pain that's going to be inflicted and here's the risk that you're hedging by paying this money now rather than getting 6 ways fucked. You're only going to get 1 way fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to you, Trisha, with the dump truck ass.
Yeah,
Love
Trixie.
Trixie.
That spring acelepryn application becomes extremely cheap when put into those terms, isn't it? It becomes very cheap, and that is exactly. Actually, for me, I don't have trouble explaining things that way because unless somebody has been living under a rock, they know fuck well that here in Hawaii, a square foot of sod is, get ready for it, up to $10 per square foot installed.
Yep.
It's about $5 per square foot if you go pick it up your own damn self from the sod farm. But if it's installed, that's about 10 a square foot. So let's talk again about how anything over $75 a month for a whack and a blow is too expensive.
So what is
I think
what
what
does
we're
it
trying to
cost
say.
for
Go ahead.
Ray, I want to know what's it cost roughly for if it's $10 a square foot for sod. What does it cost to maintain under the Ray Ito lawn care program? And you don't have to give exact numbers, but like roughly.
Okay, no, roughly I can tell you that for the first 2,000 square foot, that is about $300 a month.
And hey, yeah.
For the first 2,000.
Sign me up.
Sign you up, yeah, because and it's only the
What's your mileage
incredibly
rate?
Yeah, but for the incredibly foolhardy guys, that is literally too much for them to pay. Because again, they get the whack and blow, let it get taken over by any number of weeds, let the large patch come, let the fall armyworm come and finish off the job and do it all over again in a few years.
I think the moral of the story here, Lushy, is that, you either want to be the insurance salesman or, the novelty machine in the men's restroom at 1:58 in the morning at a bar. Like that's.
Oh, I want to be the novelty sneeze machine. I want you to put your quarter in. I want it to sneeze the cologne onto you. That makes you think that you're going to take that stripper home because you spent her at least $300 in cash, and she's been winking at you all night, and you think another 50 cents is what's going to seal the deal.
No,
that's my business operation right there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, or there's got to be those clients and customers that there's 3 types of rubbers in the first 3 things, and then the last one's just some KY warming liquid, so you can be realistic about things. Go home and jerk yourself off and go to sleep. Unless you're too drunk. But I digress. All right, listen, we've got to get out of here and get over to the after show. Speaking of circle jerks and everything, the after show is probably the most fun circle jerk that you'll participate in via video all week long, and we encourage you to join us as we we go through some tips, some tricks, and some just awful practices of agronomy and lawn care and everything else. And come spend some time with us. We'll do that. If you want to have access to something like that, you can find us over at www.patreon.com burn and return. It is now again, I think, less than the price of a gallon of gas here for the lowest membership level. So go in, check it out, hop on there, connect your Discord, and J-Pink will get you all set up. But until then, we'll see you all on the next one.
Maybe.
Nope. It was a premature ending.
There he goes.
We didn't come simultaneously. How unromantic.
The wrong outro.
I know. You pulled it right out. You guys want me to pop on the after show?